and one of our first year team members literally drove to the grocery store, got Oreo cookies, milk, put it in their mailbox because they knew a fan, and then sent a text that said, check your mailbox.
Welcome to Experience Points, presented by our friends at Avtex, who transform customer experience through CX design and orchestration. On Experience Points, contestants earn points by answering customer experience questions and share their insights on how to make your interactions remarkable. Those points turn into dollars for the charity of their choosing. I'm Joey Coleman.
And I'm Dan Gingiss, and we'd love to introduce you to today's contestant.
He is the one, the only, the man in the yellow hat himself, Jesse Cole, the founder of Fans First Entertainment, the owner of the remarkable Savannah Bananas baseball team, the author of Find Your Tux, and the 3-time champion of the Coastal Plain League. So this is like a real baseball team. Welcome, Jesse Cole.
Thank you. We haven't been called a real baseball team in years, so thank you for that.
I love it. For people that don't know the Savannah Bananas, can you give us like a real quick overview about what happens at one of your games?
Yeah, it's a circus-like baseball experience. We have a breakdancing first base coach, a senior citizen dance team with women in their 70s, a male cheerleading team called the Bananas. You name it, it's a circus, and we actually play baseball, and we've won a few games too.
Guys, I got to tell you, I've had the pleasure of being a guest at the Savannah Bananas game, and it's unfair to call it a baseball game. It's actually a party where a baseball game breaks out. It's absolutely incredible. If you get the chance, it is worth the road trip to go to Savannah and see the amazing customer experiences that Jesse is delivering for the Savannah Banana fans.
All right, Jesse, you are going to be playing for a very special charity today. Would you mind sharing with the audience what is the charity and why is it important to you?
Yeah, excited to play today for Savannah Chatham County CASA. You know, right now there's over 500,000 kids out there that don't have a home. And so for myself and Emily, Foster is very important to us. And we've been working with them since we arrived here in Savannah, emceed some events, and they're a great cause and a great group. So we want to help them in any way.
You know, I'm not at all surprised, Jesse, that a great guy like you is supporting a great group like CASA. We so appreciate that. It sounds like a fantastic cause, and we're excited to have you win some money for them today. Today, we're going to be playing a game called What Happened?
In What Happened, watch the first half of an experience story. Choose what you think happens next from 4 possible endings. Answer correctly for 500 points. If incorrect, you'll be granted an extra life and the opportunity to answer from the remaining 3 endings for 250 points.
Jesse, are you ready to get started?
Yes, and I'm fired up that none of these games have anything to do with skill. That's what's great. I'm very excited about this.
Nothing with skill, only with brain power. Let's see what we can do. All right, we're going to play the game called What Happened?
All right, I'd like to introduce you to a friend of mine, social media speaker and author, Chris Strub, also a big baseball fan. And Chris is going to share a story about an experience that he had with a certain retailer.
Hey, this is Chris Strub, the Giving Day guy, and I'm going to tell you a quick story about the clearance rack. So we've all been there, department store, at a mall. I was poking around about 2.5 years ago in advance of a conference that I was speaking at. I found these pairs of loafer socks. You can see how much I love them. The one's still in the package here. And as I was going to the checkout counter, an employee asked, hello, sir? Did you find everything that you're looking for today? We've got this clearance rack over here, and everything on the rack is actually marked down an additional 50% off the lowest marked rate. And I said, oh, all right, well, let me go check that out real quick. Took a quick look. I saw a pair of pants on this rack. And of course, again, this is the clearance rack. The pair of pants was way too big for me. The pair of pants was a size 44. I know you can't see all of me, but I am not a size 44. So I went back over to the register, bought my socks. The manager said, did you find everything? And I said, I wish you had a few more pairs of pants on the clearance rack. But other than that, everything's great.
All right, Jesse, we're going to give you 4 choices of what happened next. And you have to choose the ending to the story. The first choice is A. The manager calls multiple stores, finds the pants in the correct size, and ships them directly to Chris's home. B. The manager calls multiple stores, cannot find the pants in the correct size, but Chris appreciates the effort. C. The manager apologizes and says that clearance items are only at what's available on the rack. Or D. The manager tries to sell Chris on a different pair of pants that are 10 times more expensive. Which do you think is the end of the story? What happened? And then tell us why you think it happened.
Well, we know when I reason, that could be trouble, but I'm hoping it's not C or D. I would say C is probably the common that 90% of managers may do. I'm thinking this is going to be a remarkable story to be sharing it. So I'm going to go with A. A is my answer. That's the all way. B, I don't think he would share that. So I think A is taking it to the next level. I'm hoping that's the answer.
I love it. I love it, Jesse. So again, just to be clear, you're picking A. The manager called multiple stores, found the pants in the correct size, and shipped them to Chris's home, because if it's risen to the level of Chris wanting to tell a story about it, you think it's probably a remarkable experience.
I hope so.
I love it. I love it. Let's go to the tape.
You would think that the manager would just say, oh, you know, it's a clearance rack. We got what we got. But first, he took a minute to scroll on his phone. He went and looked in the back. He was looking at the inventory in the store and couldn't find any other pairs of pants. And I said, all right, that's fine. It's a clearance rack. But wait. Joel actually got on the phone. He called all the surrounding stores in the area. And not just in the area, but actually all around the region. He ended up actually calling a store in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, spoke to the manager over there, found the same pair of pants that were on this clearance rack at that store in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, in my exact size, took down my address, charged me that $18 for the $100 pair of pants, had them shipped to my house in 48 hours before I actually went to the conference. And I've got that pair of pants right here. So, Joel from Banana Republic, it's a story I can tell for years and years and years. One of the best customer service experiences I've ever had from the clearance rack, where you would never expect such a positive resolution. But Joel from Banana Republic, appreciate you, man.
Well played, guys. Well played right
well,
there.
Of course the retailer was Banana Republic, right, Jesse?
Absolutely
well,
amazing, of course.
Congratulations. You did identify the correct answer. And I think you were absolutely right in pointing out that the experiences that people share are usually on one end of the spectrum. They're either really remarkable for a good reason or really remarkable for a bad reason. And I think you did a great job sussing that out and seeing that only one of those four was really worth talking about, because the experiences that people don't talk about are the average ones, right? Nobody's ever said, I want to tell you about the perfectly average restaurant I went to last night. It's got to be something that stands out. So great job with that. And the other thing I thought that really stood out to me on this story was that manager was obviously empowered to take action. He had a process and technology in place to be able to call the other stores, get it ordered, get it shipped, and he was empowered to do it. And if we don't empower our employees to make those kinds of decisions and take those sort of actions, it's really hard for them to provide a remarkable experience. I would imagine you do a great job empowering your employees.
It's something I'm always working on, but yeah, I love it. I think it'd take it another step if it was actually a frontline employee instead of a manager. Could just a person right at the register make that decision? And we've worked hard at that. And a few examples. I mean, just during quarantine, shelter in place, one of our fans wrote on Facebook what I would do for Oreo cookies and milk right now. And one of our first year team members literally drove to the grocery store, got Oreo cookies, milk, put it in their mailbox because they knew a fan, and then sent a text that said, check your mailbox. And I was like, all right, a simple thing, not a big expense, but that was a frontline person, a first year employee for us. And that is when I feel like, all right, we're finally getting that point where you don't have to ask permission to do something. I think obviously Banana Republic, pretty impressive right there.
Jesse, I think it's a common challenge in most businesses for the senior managers or the owners to get employees who care as much about the customers as they do. This is a common refrain we hear. Could you speak a little bit to some of the things you've done to empower your employees or to encourage your employees to deliver remarkable experiences, or even give them a context for what a remarkable experience is and how that's played into kind of your employee empowerment efforts?
Yeah, for us, it's just intentional. We talk about fans first moments over and over and over again. The name of our company, Fans First Entertainment. Our mission is fans first, entertain always. Every decision we make, we ask, is it fans first? We repeat that over and over again. And so every night after games, we say, all right, guys, what are the fans first moments? And if it's a point where you're not raising your hand once in a while, it's almost uncomfortable. You got to figure out, what are you doing to create those moments? And so when we have something special, like someone the other night called about a proposal, people know, all right, what are we going to do to make this extra special? And they went and got the gift card. They had someone learn how to play their favorite song on a ukulele and play, right? And they came off the field. Like all these little, turns into a huge moment because everyone wants to be a part of that. And as Joey, you've said so many times, you don't have to do it for everybody. But when you get an opportunity that's special, go the distance. And I think not many people go the distance. And I think that's when you create a remarkable story, like the Nordstroms and the Ritz-Carlton stories that get told over and over and over again. That was just one story, but it made a much bigger impact.
That's so true, Jesse. If I may, at the risk of getting too technical, but I think this is something that many of our viewers and listeners probably struggle with. How do you think about budgets as it relates to employees? Like that employee that took the Oreo cookies and the milk, are they paying for it out of pocket? Are they able to expense that? How do you kind of create this freedom to do the right thing, but also recognize that as a business, you got to pay attention to where you're making your investments and where you're spending your dollars?
It's a good question. I mean, we do have servicing budgets and stuff for every ticket person. They have a couple $1,000s they can use in any way to take care of people. But overall, it's really just never even it's never even a thought. Like to buy a $100 gift card and do this, it's just not even a thought. And we will never question it. And if you never question it, then people stop worrying, is this the wrong decision to make? Because we will celebrate it over and over again on the way we made them feel, not how much it cost, on how we made the people feel. And I think that's what's celebrated. So money hasn't become an issue. And it's like PTO. You can give people, we have unlimited vacation time. People don't take tons of vacation time. It's not like we're spending thousands and thousands of dollars. It's those unique instances, and it really doesn't add up as much as people would think it does.
And I think what's awesome about that is that you create this loyalty and this lifetime value that is worth so much more than that $100 gift card. And I think a lot of times what companies, the mistake they make is they think about an individual transaction and the profit of that individual transaction. Oh, well, they only paid $20 for a ticket and $5 for a hot dog, so we can't give them a $100 gift card because we'll lose money. But that person has a family of 4 and that they're going to come back 10 more times this season, and they're going to come back next season and the season after that. And so the $100 gift card spread over all that time is really not much of an expense at all.
100. The people that proposed just last game, it was their first ever Bananas game. They just heard they had to come to the game, and he wanted to propose at this game because he heard it was so special. You better believe it's a proposal. They're going to tell everyone about that. But what if you just kept going with it? It becomes something that's shared constantly. And that's not the reason you do it, but it's the right thing to do in those instances.
Well, and I think for anybody listening who might be saying, well, Jesse, sure, you have a baseball team. Like, what am I supposed to do in a B2B scenario? Or what am I supposed to do if I have a less than sexy product? I think the reality is, and I don't mean this as a criticism, I'm a big fan of you and the Bananas, but when you started, you didn't have a fan base. I mean, I remember you telling me the stories of like no season tickets sold, empty stands. You take over in this kind of town that had decided that baseball didn't matter anymore. And now you've had how many seasons of sold out? I mean, for me, it's because you're making that investment in remarkable customer experiences.
Yes. Yeah. And we went from we spend $0 in marketing. So as you guys know, when you invest in the experience and the entertainment and the fact that we pay a 6-year-old to be our professional high fiver, and this year, because of COVID, the air high fiver, he actually did a video about that. But we invest in that because that is what people will talk about. They have a 6-year-old high five. You invest in the way you make people feel and the fun and the different. And that for us has made the difference, and better than those 2 season tickets we sold our first year. I'll tell you that.
And for those B2B companies out there, remember that your customers are human, which means they have families, they have pets, they have hobbies, they do things outside of doing business with you. So there's always an opportunity to recognize them, to celebrate with them, or to do something special for them. All right, Joey, let's recap. How did Jesse do playing What Happened?
Well, Dan, in this game, correct answers are worth 500 points, and Jesse answered correctly, which means he earned 500 points. Now, these points convert into dollars, which means that Jesse earned a $500 donation to Savannah Chatham Casa. Congratulations, Jesse.
Feeling strong, guys. Feeling really good right now.
Woo!
You did an awesome job. And that concludes this episode of Experience Points. Folks, check out more games with Jesse and our other celebrity guests at experiencepointsgame.com. That URL again is experiencepointsgame.com. We'll see you soon for more examples of remarkable customer experiences here at Experience Points, brought to you by Avtex.
I don't know about you, but I buy most of my stuff off the clearance rack. So I related to that story, but I've never had someone like call around because my size wasn't on the clearance rack. That was a remarkable experience that
No, I can guarantee that most of us haven't had that experience with the clearance rack at all.
Well, but I think that raises a really interesting point, which is, you know, the clearance rack is usually tucked back in the corner of the store. No one points you to it. It's really not remarkable at all. Sometimes you don't even get attention when you're milling around the clearance rack. But I think it brings up a good concept, which is, you know, we should try to make remarkable moments even at the clearance rack. In other words, in the ordinary. The things that, you know, really aren't that special. You know, that's when there's opportunities to be remarkable and create an experience that's going to be remembered.
Yeah, and I think that empowered employee is a huge component of that, because it's the empowered employee that really owns those ordinary moments, right? And I think ordinary is even too lame of a play, and it's everyday moments, I guess I'll call them, with the clients, is that's really where our client-facing personnel are engaging. And so, you know, how do you elevate that? And I think one of the interesting points that they talked about is that Jesse brought up, is that everyone needs to be a part of that, right? Sometimes we talk about CX and creating interesting moments and things like that are either curated by an org or by a single person, and it can't be hero ball all the time. Like, you can't have just a couple of people that are creating all these powerful moments, you know, because then there's going to be burnout on the employee side, and it's going to be inconsistent from the brand side. And I love that concept of everybody contributing in an ordinary moment to make it extraordinary.